Hell yeah, AJ.
All right.
How's life, man? Fill me in on, you were kind of, what were you just talking about prior to that? You were about to go into what you and Ronnie were doing?
Oh, yeah. Well, life in general has been good. It's been busy.
Nice.
What I was saying before when we came in, again, I came out. I'm glad that we were able to meet up today because, I've been traveling up around this way all week, and I'll be up in Worcester, and then I'll be going up to New Hampshire. I'm on a tour right now, teaching, doing edutainment, so teaching through entertainment, and I get the kids stoked on everything from geography and about the world itself, like the landforms and like the oceans and things like this. I teach at the STEAM Museum, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math, which is like an interactive assembly for kids to actually learn by doing. And then we also are doing Skate for Life shows, which is health and wellness, mind, body, and spirit through skateboarding. And speaking of skateboarding, that's what we were talking about before, is that myself and Ronnie Gordon, which you know Ronnie, we have started a new venture. As you know, we do the Skateboard Academy of Philadelphia. We're changing that
One
up.
second. I just want to make sure people can hear you nice and crisp. I'm going to point the end right towards your mouth.
Okay, just like that?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Yes. Skateboard Academy.
The Skateboard Academy, and that's been going well. We've had our own indoor facility for the last, 9 years now.
That's amazing.
And it's been going well. We were going to make some adjustments, though, due to the fact that our building got bought up by another developer. And it looks like they're probably going to turn that into condos within the next few years.
Oh,
so, and all the prices are going up exponentially. So, we have actually talked to our good friends over at Parks and Recreation, and we're probably going to do more stuff with them. We do a lot of stuff with Parks and Rec as well as the school system as of right now. But we're trying to find an indoor facility that we can do for the winter. And we talked to even a couple of our friends who have smaller facilities. So we might scale down that for the time being, but we have this big thing going on. Myself, Ronnie Gordon, and our friend Adam, who is a pro BMX guy. We're opening up what's called Rad World, New Jersey, in Beverly, which is just south of the Burlington Bridge, and it's just north of the Betsy Ross Bridge, right in the middle. And it is 13,000 square foot building that has 2 floors. So downstairs, we're building the downstairs. It's the basement area, which has 10-foot high ceilings. So we're going to try to do more of like a plaza and kind of flow style down there. And then up top, we're going to do a proper like professional park for skateboards, BMX, and we'll be doing other roller activities such as roller skating and scooters as well.
Are the ceilings higher upstairs?
Yeah, they're about 16 feet.
There we go.
Yeah, so that's much bigger, so we can go a lot bigger with that. But what's interesting is the new space, it was an old school at one time. It was actually a high school at one time. It burnt down, so the top floor is gone. So it's just the floor that's there, and then the basement. And then it was a lithograph place when we were looking at it.
What's a lithograph?
It's like an old printing press place.
Oh, okay.
So, and they had like these big machines, like basically the garage that we're sitting on right now, like one of the machines would probably fill up this.
That's amazing.
It's really big. And they were like from the, 1900s and stuff like that, really old machines, all with pneumatics and all sorts of stuff. So I was geeking out, checking them all out. But, it was like tons and tons of steel that were down there. So they needed to take out all that and clear it out. And once they cleared it out, we saw that we have a big alleyway. It's about 30 feet wide and it's about 100 feet long. And then it goes off to like an L shape, which is about another 30 by 50. And then we have a back room where we're going to do kind of like a flow course, like a pump track, but like with kind of bermed up corners and stuff in it, and then we have 2 pillars in there so that you can like ride up the pillars and go in all different directions. So it's kind of like a combination between a bowl and a pump track idea that we're working together with our friends who do BMX, and we're seeing what we can do there. And then upstairs, we're going to do like kind of like a smaller version of the Big Kahuna that they have at Tampa. and do like one of those nice pyramids that they used to have at Tampa, or I guess now they have at Sprack. We're looking at like those type of angles
with like hips and stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be a three-sided hip, and then we're going to have a spot where you can do rails and do hubbas and things like that with stairs that have little things that you can push in to do like Euro gaps. We're going to do a big wall ride with pull coping on the top. And then we're going to do a nice bank to ledge. Just keep it real simple. We don't want to over clutter it or anything like that. It's we want to keep it effective and fun and stuff that, you know, we can get up and going sooner than later, because, you know, the clock is ticking on that type of stuff. As you know, like when you're renting out a space and whatnot, you know, if you don't have business coming in, you're losing money out the door. And what's great is it was actually Ronnie's friend actually owns the building. So we were able to get a really good deal, and we got locked in.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And we got locked in for about 3 years with an option to buy. So we're hoping that it all goes well. Knock on wood.
Definitely.
And yeah, so that's what the big thing has been going on here. Like, you know, I came in here and I saw all the great stuff that you're doing in here, and I smell the wood. I don't know, it's unfortunate that the viewers will not be able to smell this, but it's like you smell like skateboard wood, and then you get to smell all of this new construction here. And that's basically what it smells like at Rad World right now. It's like there's so much stuff to do. It's an old building, but I think when all is said and done, we should be open. I'm looking at beginning of November.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So it's already underway.
Yeah, it's underway. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you've been busy then too. You've been very busy.
Very busy. Yeah. I don't have any little ones to deal with like you do, but I'm busy nonetheless, for sure.
Sounds like it's all awesome stuff though. So your van's awesome. I was checking out.
Thanks.
I kind of wanted one of those like big like Sprinter type vans.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, no, that's it's great because we actually got a deal with Enterprise with that. So It's actually the company I work for. I'm actually an independent contractor, so I get contracts to do all these edutainment shows up and down the East Coast. And that all came from me doing skate shows, believe it or not. All of the stuff that I'm doing these days is all based off of doing demos back in the day.
Cool. Yeah. It's good to have like many skills so that you seem to have multiple avenues where you can have work and engage with people about things you're passionate about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's one of the benefits of also getting older is that you have more time to do that type of stuff. As you know, like being a professional skateboarder as well, it's like when you're in it and you have all the sponsors, you have all this responsibility to be a walking, talking advertisement for the companies, and you don't have much time for anything else. And it's just about skating, and that's wonderful, and I love it. But as you know, the body breaks down, sponsors come and go, and you need to find something else that you can do to keep proliferating what you love to do.
Totally.
You know, and
you got to expand yourself beyond just an athlete or.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the whole manufacturing thing right in here, and you're doing this. For me, my background, I went to school for engineering and industrial design. So I took that knowledge as well as my love of teaching, and I put it together. And I created in 2012, we did a first nationwide skateboard tour teaching science. So it was the science of skateboarding. And that went through, as I think we mentioned before, it was 34 weeks, and it was 34 weeks, 370 shows in 34 weeks in 40 states.
That's a heavy tour, dude.
That's a very heavy tour. That's a heavy tour. But these now that I'm doing now, since I did that, you know, in skateboarding shows, like I would do like 2 to 3 locations a day.
Wow.
And I do that 5, sometimes 6 days a week. And this when I was a bit younger and I could do it. Actually, one of our guys that I'm meeting up with to do the skate tours up in Swansea and over in down in Maryland, Pete Betty, who, if you guys haven't checked him out, definitely check him out. He's like one of the top freestyle skateboarders in the world right now. And he like mixes, he does street and he skates ramp and stuff too, but in a different way. And he really is. Does
he incorporate the freestyle on the ramps?
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff? That's
yeah.
so
I mean,
cool.
he'll do like 1.5 kick flips to truck stands, like on banks, and like do flip tricks out of it into the banks again. I've seen him do like 1.5 kick flips to rail, like up to like primo. right by the coping and then do a flip to disaster and revert out. Like, I mean, just wicked stuff. And he's
mind blowing shit.
He's really like on another level. So like if people like Andy Anderson, you know what I mean? Like he combines stuff like Andy does, but he does it in his own way, and it's a completely different style than what Andy does. Andy skates Andy style, Pete skates Pete style.
It's the beauty of skateboarding is so much nuance and different directions, and everyone internalizes it their own way.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody, as you know, like you can see somebody doing like a kickflip, for instance, and you look at a guy like Mark Gonzalez who mobs his kickflips, and they're the way he does it.
He
you know
club foots them.
He club foots them, but they look rad because he does it that way. Now, if anybody else did it that way, I don't know if it would play as well, but like for the way he does it, because that's his signature. And then you look at a guy like him, and then you go to the other side of the spectrum, and he used to be a teammate of Mark, was Nate Jones.
Oh.
Nate Jones's kickflips just like went on forever, and everything was articulated and accentuated to the nth degree.
There was a sticker, a deluxe sticker. Remember that?
Yes.
I think it's his tray flip.
I think it was his tray flip, yeah, because his leg was like way out and his other leg was tucked under, and it just like went around like a saucer.
Backside flips, back tails, tray flips, timeless.
And it's crazy because he had a lot of tricks. Like when he was coming up as an amateur, I remember seeing him because he was from Ohio originally.
Oh, wow.
And we would see him at like around, you know, that whole thing. So Chengo World and all those areas. And then he would come out and he would skate like in the different contests, like in Kentucky and Tennessee and like all that whole circuit back in the day. And, you know, he had a lot of tricks, but like when he got into the industry, there was just, they just wanted him to do certain things, you know what I mean? And he just accentuated his style, and you know, I think he was one of the more stylish guys of that time.
100%. Yeah.
He just like had the flow, and he didn't have to have a huge bag of tricks. He just the tricks that he did so well. He only had to do 10 tricks in a video, and it was gold. You know, every single time.
Totally.
You know,
there's some dudes. Those are some of my favorite skaters. I look at Susky like that, Aaron Susky.
Oh, Susky's amazing. That dude is such a charger too. I've seen that guy skate like. Was it a highway barrier, and he just destroyed it, and I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense what he's doing. Or you ever see like the really rough stuff that they skate in New York with the cobblestones and stuff, like Danny Pencil and all those used to skate those things, and like they would go so fast at that stuff and just blast like a big kickflip, and you're like, I can barely get off of that thing. You could just do a little ollie and I'm happy, and they're blasting kickflips chest high out of there, you know. So it's some of those guys have that nuance. And then, you know, I see a lot of the new kids who are coming up, and they have a ton of tricks, but they're almost like throwaway tricks, you know. Like I see on YouTube, I see, who's that one guy? He was from Jersey originally, but he's not. He lives out somewhere else now. I can't think of his name right now, but he's the guy who does like the quad flips.
Oh yeah.
He does like all these really crazy tricks. He does 360 kickflip, double flips, 540 flips, whatever. And he's
Jeff On Song.
Was it?
Jeff On Song.
Yes.
That's what they call him.
Deshear. That guy, he's got like so many tricks, but like he puts all of it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's almost like throwaway stuff, which is a shame because I think like that dude, like he goes big. And he does. That, but it's like he's showing how many tricks he does, but I want to see the best tricks, and I want to see them done as perfectly as they can be. You know, and I think, and nothing against him, I think he's amazing by all means, but it's like I would like to see like a full video part of that guy where he spent like a year or 2 years.
Yeah, agreed.
Rendering down all the stuff that he wants to be known for, and then put out a really well produced video that shows you know, as you were saying, the nuance and the amazingness of his skating, because I think it gets lost when people are filming on their phones all the time. You know,
it does.
You know,
I agree with you about Jeff too. I think that it would be rad for him to just focus on one thing and put out less, but just focus on a video part and for a year or two, and just go dark, but then stack all this stuff, and then the best version of what you can do, like you're saying, and then drop it. It would be way more impactful for sure. Because like I have to talk to my team riders sometimes, like the younger guys that are learning. I have to tell them, I'm like, look, man, less is more sometimes. Like I know you're stoked on this. You just learned a trick and you want to post it. It's like maybe don't. Maybe wait until you have it like the way you want it. And like if you just flood the feed with like, and you put, hey, this is like warm up or this is light work, or like they like to say and shit. And I'm like, they're gonna stop watching if it's all light work. Like we want to see some excellence too, you know, like work hard and like show off like something you put time and effort into and are really proud of. With the phones, it's like too easy to just capture everything, put it out, and think everyone's just gonna watch it. You know, it's like you just flood everything, and people's attention is valuable. You know,
and their attention span is even less than it was 10 years ago.
Totally,
you know what I mean? And you want to make an impact. For instance, like you look at, and this has been one of the most impactful videos, especially from up around this area. Freaking Wonderful Horrible Life.
Yeah,
you know, you still look at that thing like. He almost did it too good because everybody's like, well, how's he ever going to top that? But it's like, dude, he's PJ. He can do whatever he wants. He's kind of into that. He's into the Tom Penny era in regards to that. He's like that mystical dude.
Yeah.
That elusive, mystical dude who's floating around. Like, you want to find Animal Chin, they're probably hanging out with those two dudes, you know, for sure. You know what I mean?
That's a funny 3 combo right there.
Yeah, I'm telling you. You know, you got Tom Penny, you know, who's doing stuff in Europe, and then you have...
He's on mushrooms, just fucking vibing.
And then you see PJ, and...
he's practicing religion in the
corner. Yeah, no, he's a Sikh. He's a Sikh now, and, you know, you see him, and... It's interesting. You can see a different focus in his skating, you know, from, you know, him growing up and stuff like that, too, you know? And you know, he doesn't put out a lot of stuff, but the stuff he puts out with is solid
quality.
You know, it's just like, dude, even on my best day, I don't know if I could do some of his basic tricks that good. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know what I mean? But it's like some people just have it like that. You know what I mean? And that's what gets us stoked to continue doing what we do as well.
Yeah,
you know?
Man.
So
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and just to keep going on that thread, but I agree. That's why I'm trying to convince all the young dudes on my team, like, let's work on full-length projects together, you know, and let's take our time and like really learn to film a video part. That's been my last year or two, was with our we just released a full-length not that long ago titled Wilder. It's on YouTube, and it was me. We had the veteran pros going out with the young dudes and basically showing them how to battle a trick and how not to give up and trick selection and telling them to clean it up. Like, oh, you did it too easy. Get it again, but better, faster. Or like, you know, like all the nuance of like how to learn to film a trick where it looks appealing and just really showing them the ropes. And they all got the fucking hang of it. It was crazy watching them learn to film video parts because like Jensen and Anders and a couple of these dudes, I watched it click, and I remember it clicking for me. Like, once you had someone showing you the ropes and you got enough experience out in the streets, it got a lot easier and the world opens up. But like when you're first learning, it's like you're just battling tricks off the bat because you just don't know what it takes and you're getting frustrated and wanting to give up. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, is like trying to show these guys how to film a video part and why to film a video part.
And that's so important, because if they want to take it to the next level, you know, and it's funny because I see these things on YouTube, and you know, you have people who hating on, you know, YouTubers or whatnot, and it's like, look, it's all skateboarding. If they want to do it their way, let them do it their way. Like, it doesn't really bother. It doesn't bother me. However you want to skate, that's how you skate, and it shouldn't bother anybody else. But what I think, you know, I saw one of the YouTubers. He's a very popular one, and he was complaining that he didn't have a shoe sponsor or something like that. I think it was the guy from Switzerland, and he was like, you know, oh well, they just think I'm a YouTuber, and you know, the industry doesn't take me seriously. And the guy skates amazingly, but he skates at the same park with the same video cameras all the time. He doesn't film a part. And it's like, that makes the difference. And I'm glad that you're doing that with your kids, because I'll tell you what, you're doing exactly what skateboarding has always done, is the older guys breaking it down and giving it to the younger guys. You know what I mean? And, you know, we, just like how we learned, all the older guys would be yelling at us to try something and whatnot, and we'd do it while they were sitting back. Now we're able to say, hey, this is what we learned. You guys are working way too hard, and you're working in a counterproductive way.
Yeah.
Let's do it this way, and you guys will see the fruit of your labors. Because then once they see that, and as you said, they click, it makes something happen. One of the same guys, we have a guy, as you know, Devin Flynn.
Oh, amazing.
And whoops, there we go.
Just tilt the mic up and bring the handle lower, and just keep it in front.
Just like that. There
yeah, exactly.
All right. So yeah, Devin, he's been in Europe for the last month, almost a month and a half. He's been back and forth a bunch, and he's been filming a lot. He did the contest series and stuff like that.
The contest.
And we were telling him how to skate contests, so the way we get our guys to skate contests is by doing demos. So he's been doing demos with us since he was about 8 years old.
Wow.
Him and his father skates as well. So since the 70s. So he's got a good background, good genetics within regards to skateboarding. And, so we've taken him around and we're showing him the ropes and like how you act and how you introduce yourself and how you shake hands and whatnot. And
that's really important too.
It is.
A lot of people don't get that. There's tons of talented people out there that have no social skills because they didn't get that sponsor that took them out to do demos and teach them the ropes.
And to be able to interact with people who may not be exposed or even know what skateboarding is, to get them excited about skateboarding, that's how you get more people into skateboarding. And if you can do that, you become more of a valuable asset to skateboarding as a whole, but also it looks really good for sponsors. So sponsors see that he's been going out and doing demos with myself and Ronnie Gordon and a bunch of guys. And then he started skating really well in contests. And then all of a sudden it just started to snowball within regards to that, to the point where it's funny. Ronnie actually told me he saw Devin when he came back from Europe. He was skating over at Pennsauken Skate Park, which is an amazing skate park. And he was over there skating it. And he saw the kid that was learning how to drop in. And without us even saying anything, he went over and he worked with the kid.
Right.
And like stuff like that interaction, instead of being like behind the screen all the time. And a lot of times, I think you lose some authenticism within regards to that, because you're so in like this little world of like, this is me in the screen and I'm talking to the screen and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, which is great, to create a story and create like a narrative. But how genuine is it? And can you take that, what you do, because I've known some guys who do YouTubes that seem really personable when you are when you're watching them, but in person they don't know how to interact,
because that's a skill you could practice by yourself and just be like, you can get really good at entertaining nothing, the void.
Exactly, because you always delete, you can always rewind, delete,
true.
And then come back again. And I think in some ways it could be good for some people who have like high levels of anxiety and things like that, so they can
practice that skill.
And I think that's good. But at the same time, it's just like being able to interact and being out there in the streets and being able to look somebody in the eye and shake their hand and have a conversation. It's not all about being on the phone. It's not all about, showing what you can do on YouTube. It's like, well, who is this person? Why do I want to invest in this person? Why do I want to buy their skateboard or the people that they're associated with? And with Devin, he's been skating the contest and now he's filming a video part. And, and he's out with some of the best guys in the world to do that with,
Lucky him.
Yeah. It's just
you learn a lot, dude.
Absolutely. I mean, like when you go into like a place where you're not familiar with or even know the language, like you get, it renders down your world very simple and like, all right, I'm here to eat, sleep, and skate. That's it. You know what I mean? And
that's the dream.
Absolutely. But he was. Where was he at last? He was in Germany. He was in. I believe he was in the UK for a little while. He was in Germany. Went down to Italy, and now last I heard he was in Greece.
Rad.
In Athens, which is
good
amazing.
Kid, man. He deserves to travel the world.
Absolutely. And if he can produce a good video part, and that's something that Ronnie and I have been like stressing, as well as like his team manager and everything, like those guys are good dudes over there. That's what's going to take him to that next level, is having a good video part that he puts a lot of time and effort in and is not just skating his local and is getting out there and skating with the people.
Yeah, a lot of that is traps too with the phone and stuff. You get so complacent because you just get the people just applaud you for skating a park all the time, and online they're just like, oh, that's so cool, and it's like, that's why they don't get the same respect as someone who's filmed video parts. The industry core skaters are usually like, they know there's a difference between skating parks and skating street. The elements and all the things that go into skating street takes a lot more, and there's a lot more aesthetically pleasing things of street skating and finding the spot, and just like, so yeah, he's the kid who could do it all. So I'm glad that he's like working on it. Because why not? Why box yourself in? You know.
Absolutely.
That happens to people. Kind of what you were talking before. I think about Jeff maybe, where you said it gets kind of watered down because he just releases a lot of those tricks and doesn't just like wait to hold that triple flip till he gets it on the banging thing he wants and holds it to a video part. That happens with contest skaters too. Is they to me they kind of water down their tricks, like Lutzka, like a legend. Don't like not knocking him, but 270 flip, everything. 270 it loses its like gusto because it's everywhere and it's all on skate parks, and it's like it's not as impactful as if that 270 in that video part, you know, and like it gets like over marketed where you're just like this becomes a gimmick, and then people don't take you serious because you just see it everywhere. He's lucky. He's another fortunate one that does it all. He has amazing video parts to back it up, so he'll get respect, you know.
Oh yeah, and it's crazy because he's been pro since what 2003 or something like that. That guy, and I saw he's coming out with a new video, which I'm really excited to see. I think it's like called One Way or something like that, or
it's more like about his life, right?
It's about his life, yeah. And you know, it's just like a lot of us, you know, we all come from different backgrounds, and some of us, and you know, we've had this conversation before, you know, our beginnings were not the easiest beginnings, to say the least, right? And so, and the same thing with him, and but like you see something like I remember seeing him at contest doing he did that frontside 270 flip to nose blind.
Yeah,
he was like the only dude
A-frame rail,
on the A-frame rail, and he was the only guy who's ever done it. Like even the Japanese who are coming out crazy,
insane.
They haven't done that yet. Which, you know, it's a matter of time. I'm sure next week there'll be one of them that does it. You know, probably does it switch, but it is what it is. But he threw it down there years and years ago.
Definitely a pioneer. In that,
for sure. And then it's like, you know, he had his pop and he did as much as he could within that time. So yeah, some of the stuff is going to look similar in some of his things, but it's because he was, when you're on the contest circuit, and I don't know how much you skated the contest circuit, but like I know
I did, but I didn't win, so my skating never got on the TV and shit, so it didn't get played out. It wasn't like he did $1 million crooks on something.
right, exactly.
But if you're good at that, if you're good at contests, that's amazing because you can make a living. Mm-hmm. It's not a lot of people that can do it.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and it's and especially within street and park skating and stuff like that, they make the most money, you know, for sure. Even the women make really good money doing it. Like I skate on the pro freestyle skateboarding circuit, and it's great. It's really competitive. Is there a lot of money in it? No. You do it more for the accolades, as well as within freestyle skateboarding, because I competed in both street, ramp, and also freestyle skateboarding. So I skated Tampa Am, did Beast of the East, and I had relative success within regards to that. Like Tampa Am 99 was my first big contest, and that was like, all right, where do I fit? And I placed in like the top 60 the first time.
Amazing.
Well, yeah, it was
like 200
good.
people, right?
It was like 250 people back then. Yeah,
you got to make the 60 people.
Then I made it up in the top 60. So it was like myself and Rodney Torres and Gio Moya, like we were all within the same thing. Eric Ellington was somewhere within there too. Whoa. So it's like, you know, and you go back and you look at who you used to skate against, and you're like, wow, some of these guys are legends. Or, oh man, this guy ripped. Whatever happened to this dude? You know what I mean? And you know, you can find them online and stuff now, which is really cool, and it's fun. You can talk about those days, but that actually helped me get better at like local and regional contests, because that's like a world contest, really.
Oh yeah.
And then I would skate in like the West End skate park contest where Bam, Carey, and Maldonado were like the judges. Brandstetter was the MC. And I placed like first and second in a bunch of those contests.
Sick.
And then I skated Beast of the East, which was a U.S. Actually, it was a North American championships, because they had guys from Canada as well as all throughout the U.S. They had the Castle guys, they had the Southwest Scissor Tour, they had the Midwest Tour. All take their best guys and send them to Beast of the Easts. And
I went to one or two of them.
Yes.
And I don't know if I skated, but I definitely watched them.
Yeah, and as you know, there's some really high-level talent that goes there. Like I was looking back, somebody posted up something, they're like, oh, this is my teacher, and I found an old article of one of the contests. You know, they had like the contests rankings, and they're like, this is my teacher, and I just thought it was funny. And it was from the Beast of the East 2000, and I placed fifth in the nation for that, or North America for that. And then I look at it, and you see guys like Andrew Cannon was like a couple ahead of me, and he's running like stuff at NHS now. And then Then I saw in some of the other placings, there was like guys like Mark Del Negro, Graham Bickerstaff, like all these cats were in there. And it's like, these are all pretty big names,
Rippers,
you know what I mean? And we
yeah.
were all there as we were kids, learning how to do that. And then I switched over to doing a lot of demos and doing that stuff by 2001, working with the Beast of the East and then spreading freestyle skateboarding, and started running some of the first contests in the U.S. For the new wave of freestyle skateboarding, and that's proliferated now. Like, you can't go on YouTube without seeing one of our people out there.
Yeah, that's I don't really dip into the freestyle world, but there is a new wave and new people, and it's its own genre of like people are still ripping the freestyle.
Oh my gosh, to the next degree. Like,
That's
it's
cool.
like, and to his credit, Andy has helped with that, because when he did his Olympic run, and I talked to him before this, when we were up in Canada doing a contest with Kevin Harris, and I said, "Are you going to the Olympics? Are you going to do some freestyle in your run?" He's like, "I got you." So he does his whole run, and then at the end, when the bell goes out, he starts doing G-turns, and then he starts going into the spins. And then even after his run was done and they were tallying up the scores, he just kept skating, and they kept the camera on him. And that kind of like helped open the door for a lot of other people, because then people were going on YouTube to find out about freestyle skateboarding, and they'd see like all these guys who had YouTube channels or guys who did really well in contests. Because like our contest, when we started them, I started doing freestyle contest in 2001, and we had maybe a dozen people total. That's pro and amateur. And now it's like I just came back from Germany this year, and we had over 100 freestyle skateboarders from 30 different countries.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, it's the biggest one. It's called World Freestyle.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the content, but I know the name.
Oh, it's amazing. It's like over there, it's like they're in Japan especially, freestyle is like its own world over there. They have classes, like how you have like skate schools around here, like teaching lessons. Over in Germany, they have like these, and in Japan, they have these classes where they just teach freestyle, and they'll have 20, 30 kids in their classes.
That's so crazy.
And the guys from World Freestyle, they went actually on a tour, and they started like in Brandenburg, which is right outside of Berlin. That's where we do the big freestyle contest every year. The guy is Christian Heiss. He's the one who does it. It's called Never Enough Skate Shop. He's the one who runs that. And
sick name.
And then a whole bunch of other guys, he has a crew like deep. He's probably got like 50, 60 people that work with him to make this happen. And last year's budget was something around like 65,000 euros to put on that thing. And it was a big festival, and it had all this stuff. But freestyle was this was the main contest there. Huh. And from that, he went on tour, and he ended up going into like Poland and went into Norway and stuff like that, bringing the freestyle to all throughout Europe, and getting people stoked. And then you have guys in France. I actually am wearing one of the French team shirts right here. It's called Poutine Skateboards. Poutine Skateboards, excuse me. Poutine is the French fries that you eat, but this is poutine. Beautiful rack on it. Yeah, that is that. So I have to give him a shout out as well. And my guys from Again Freestyle, which is based out of Germany as well. But yeah, there's so many things going on. We've actually, from doing the contest and doing all the demos and all the stuff that you see on YouTube, we've been able to build an industry within the industry, so we have our own boards, we have our own wheels, we have all that stuff. So that's amazing. And then it's starting to get into, some of the bigger brands too. Like when I was coming up, we had guys like Capital, they sponsored us. Outlook sponsored freestyle.
Wait, Capital Skateboards?
Yeah, Capital Skateboards. Yeah,
like with
it was the
Pepe
second
Martinez
version.
And stuff?
Yeah, that Pepe and all them were the original teams and stuff like that. So it was like them, Kevin Taylor, and then they came out with a second version. It wasn't the same owner, but it was like the cousin of the owner, of the owner. And they came out, so there was a whole thing, and there was a video, unfortunately. Unfortunately, they didn't really edit it well. It was called Capital Punishment. And they had a whole freestyle thing in there. So what they did is they took all of our raw footage, and instead of editing it. They just put it all in and put heavy metal music soundtrack to it. So it was kind of crazy. But they had a lot of
freestyle. Did it
freestyle.
work? Did it work?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of the guys who are up and coming. They all know about all of us who did that back
That's
then.
sick.
So yeah, so it's pretty funny to see how it's changed over the years. But yeah, like guys like on Capitol, that was like Drew Desert was on that team. What's his name? Depeche. He's on the thing. It's gonna bother me. He's on Instagram as Depeche, not Depeche Mode.
Terry?
Was that?
Is it Terry?
No, Terry Sinnott. He was on the team. Tommy Harwood was on the team, and that. But there's a guy, the guy who did the scare walk down Love Park.
Oh, Donnie.
Donnie
Donnie
Benacco.
or Danny? Yeah.
Donnie Benacco. He was on the team as well.
I can't.
So-
I have the things in my brain that
Yeah.
just like never leave.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
they're in there.
Well, that's an image too. You know, doing a
Yeah.
scare walk down the glove gap is an image that you don't get out of your head.
And I'm
you
just
know?
surprised I was able to like pull the name up.
Yeah,
'Cause,
Donnie.
like,
So like, yeah, Donnie is amazing, and like Donnie was on there, and there's so many other guys that were on that team. A lot of like legendary vert skaters were skating for that team at the time, and you know, we did what we could, and then we just kind of did it incrementally, you know. But how we built freestyle was just like how we were talking about how these young guys were doing it, is by shaking hands and doing demonstrations and working with the community, and showing that it's fun and that this is something that's viable, you know, and doing contests. And we grew the contest every year, and now we had guys like Brett Novak, who is a pretty well-known filmer. He actually edited like the Killian Martin videos and stuff like that. And then he did a whole thing of all these different legendary freestylers and up and coming freestylers about like their signature trick. And he did that with them. And that really, and you can find all that stuff on YouTube. And just like his, the way he goes from scene to scene, like Killian, for one, he was like skating in like a desert. And then like he like broke through something, and then it like flipped the whole screen, and now he was like in a winter wonderland, and he was skating somewhere where it was snowing or something. And
yeah,
it was really
I believe
cool.
I watched that.
Yeah, it's
Crazy,
amazing.
like cinematography.
Yeah, the
basically.
cinematography,
Yeah.
or you know, just his eye for certain things. And then he skated like a. They went to some abandoned, what was it? Like a water park, and it was all abandoned. He was skating in it, and what they did is they found the original commercial. And he figured out the angles, and then he overlaid the old commercial, like is like a kind of like a faded in the background type of thing, while Killian was skating this way.
Yeah, so
And-
like traces.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy,
So it was
yeah.
just like, you know, kind of like this is what it was, and now there's nothing there, but there's this one person here who's creating and skating and doing its thing, and it's awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's you grow, you have like an idea, and you can grow that idea as long as you just keep pushing it forward and communicating and doing the best version of whatever you can put out there. And next thing you know, 2024, like next year is going to be the 25th anniversary of the rebirth of professional freestyle skateboarding.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And we have thousands and thousands of people who freestyle. We have more people freestyling now than ever have in the history of skateboarding.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's like I love that so many people can have a different version of skateboarding and it can still thrive. It's like the fact that we can all connect online and keep these things going is a gift for sure. No more gatekeepers, you know? You can find like-minded people and just build these things.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny that you say no more gatekeepers. In a way, sometimes some of these microcosms within that, sometimes you have gatekeepers within those microcosms.
True.
But for the most part, like, you know, making it accessible to everybody. Like, I see more girls in skateboarding now than I ever have.
It's amazing.
It's really good. And it's funny because there was a lot of girls who skated like in the 70s and into the early 80s. And then like the 80s, it was more like the skate betties. 90s, you would see some outliers once in a while. And it wasn't until, I would say, probably about 10, 15 years ago, actually a little bit, even a little bit further back than that. So you had girls like, who was it, Lauren Malika, and you had
Jamie Reyes,
of course.
Obviously, Alyssa Steamer.
Alyssa. And that's what I loved about Alyssa, is that Alyssa was way ahead of her time in a lot of ways, because she didn't segregate between women and men skateboarding. And she was just like, I'm a skateboarder, like straight up. And she would skate against the dudes. And I remember seeing her at Tampa, and she was taking out, like, I mean, she'd place in the top quarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she was no joke. Like, she was there to freaking rip. And she did. Her and then that one girl from Fibro, Perry Morgan.
Perry, yeah.
Perry was awesome. I always loved seeing Perry and stuff. And she was
awesome.
out there riding there. And she's an awesome person, you know. And then you'd see, Cara Beth would be at some of the contests.
Oh, yeah.
Jody McDonald would be at the contest, all vert skaters. And you would see them, and they all, like, you know, at least from my perspective, they all got respect because they're out there doing it. And it wasn't like, you know, oh, I'm a girl, I'm this or that. They're like, I'm here to skate. And you're like, let's skate, you know what I mean? Let's do it, you know what I mean? And
it's cool that I do like that girls can have their own version of it too.
Sure.
It's rad that I love what Alyssa did, obviously, because she just blends in with it. But, like, there are differences between men and women, and it's cool to see what girls do on their own with it as well. And that, I don't think that was so much of a possibility before, because it was just predominantly men. And you kind of, to get in the videos and magazines, you had to kind of just blend in, you know, like get in and get in, and kind of like if there's gatekeepers, you got to get in and appease them, you know. But now it's kind of like they can, you know, you can still do whatever you want, but now you can get these little, like, pictures of, like, what a girl would do as just being whatever she wants to be with her board. Yeah. And it's cool, you know. She doesn't have to fit in, doesn't have to wear the baggy pants, doesn't have to do whatever. Can just take it. I love that people can just, all walks of life can have their own expression with their own skateboard, and there's an audience out there, and you can find like-minded people.
Yeah,
it's
and
so cool.
Even speaking of girls skating too, I saw, like, another version of girls skating, which I thought was really cool, that's been becoming more popular, and it's especially for people who are not maybe as aggressive and don't want to jump down big stuff. You know, not everybody. Whoa!
Oh shit!
Not everybody can be not everybody can be an Alyssa or a Marissa Del Santo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because those they would compete against dudes, and they were going toe to toe. I mean, Marissa Del Santo. I mean, I'd see her doing, like, kickflip, like, board slides, or even back lips down, like, rails,
10 stair rails,
like. And, like, always had a wrist brace on because she kept breaking her wrist.
I always think about their hips. I'm like, they're birthing hips. They're just getting destroyed.
Well, you know, it's just like anything else. It's like we're all built differently for different things, as you were saying before. But at the same time, like, they proved of what you could do. You know what I mean? Of what's possible. And then you see these other girls who are going out and who are getting involved in it, who may not be into tricks, but there's, like, the whole carver board type thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like the surf skate, where the whole thing in the front, like, shimmies. And they're like these surfer girls, and they're, like, barefoot, like 70s style, carving in these bowls, just, like, carving around, doing figure eights and all that stuff. And they're not really doing tricks, but they're carving. And really, that's the essence of skateboarding, is pushing and turning. Yeah. And the fact that they can do it, and they're all having fun, and they're all supportive of one another. And sometimes they'll do, like, a 3-wheel out, and it's almost like they're going back to, like, the 70s style of skating. Yeah. But they're doing it as, like, groups of women who are coming out. And I'm seeing a lot more older women getting involved in skateboarding, and that's a good way for them to get into it. I've been teaching a lot of women who are in their 30s and their 40s, and even into like, you know, in their later 20s and stuff too. It's like they all became professional people, and they were like, yeah, this is something I always wanted to do, but I felt some type of way going to the skate park or whatnot, and they have the ability to do it, so they come out and we do private lessons at first, and then we take them to different parks and get them to meet people, and they get to know the you know, the different communities, and then they see where they fit in, and then they go from there, and they can enjoy it just like everybody else. Sometimes you just need somebody to show you the way a little bit. You know
totally,
what I mean?
man.
So,
it can be intimidating, especially if you're learning something that's dangerous and you don't have a clue, and you're out there by yourself, and you don't know etiquette, and, like, having someone like you or like a company like that helps facilitate that is amazing for people.
Absolutely.
Because some people are just getting into it because they like you said, she just had something. She's a professional person, and now she just wants to fulfill that desire she had, you know?
She just wants to go out and shred, and like, I'm all for it. So it's like, that's, you know, amazing. Whatever we can do to get them riding is good. But it's like, just as you said, they get in where they fit in, and you know, and it's available for everybody to do it. I mean, all you need is a skateboard and your imagination, and you can go. And it's not like how it was like when I grew up skating and stuff like that, and maybe even how when you grew up. I'm a little older than you are, but like where I was at in Pennsylvania, it was Cheapskates was the big one, and and it was a very aggro time. Like it was late 80s, early 90s, and it was just like all the guys on the East Coast were like, we're going to shred, and we don't care where we're at. We're going to take over the park, and we're going to snake everybody. And if you want to get in, you better get in and get it. Otherwise, you know, they would push you out. You know, in a way, they would almost like they were testing you. But again, different time. That would not fly today. And, and I'm glad that it was at that time, because it really shaped me of what I liked, and what really it proved to me that I wanted to be there. But at the same time, I also saw like a lot of my friends who got intimidated by it, and or like fell out of it because they just didn't have that personality type to take that aggressive ball busting, I suppose is the best way you can say it, or hazing. You know, because I mean, there was times like if you didn't try something and you were skating with the older dudes, they're like, you either try this 6 or 8 or whatever step, and if you don't at least try it and like go for it 100%, like we're leaving you here. You know what they do is they'd send you out and they say, "Oh, go get some soda or some water or something like that over at the corner store." By the time you came back from the corner store, they were already gone. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was for real. There's people
like,
who got left.
Don't be a pussy or something.
Pretty much, no bitch assness. You know, it's basically what it comes. It's like land or slam is what their whole identity was. And like, it's funny because I ran into, was it the guy who runs Bones?
Rob
Washburn. And I saw him at a contest. And, you know, he was watching this dude just shred it up. And it was Jay Sigafus, as I think I mentioned it before. And he was saying, like, those guys would come out to California, like Jay and Rob Mertz and, like, Ken and, like, all these dudes from the East Coast would come out and they would just take over their skate parks. And he said they all looked angry, and we all got out of their way because either we got out of their way or they were going to run us over, and they did not care which would happen first. And that's at least the imagery. And it's funny because when he described that, I was like, yeah, that's what I grew up with, is these guys were, you know, hey, we're here to shred, and if you're down, let's go. But if not, get the hell out of the way, because we're here to do some business, and we got to work something out. Because
I was gonna say, I think a lot of those dudes needed skateboarding in their life. They were working through stuff, because I can relate to that 100%. But I also was the type that, like, I grew up in a household that was kind of chaotic, and like skateboarding was my escape from like kind of aggression.
I hear you.
So to me, like, the wave before me was like what you were saying.
Yep.
And I got into it, and I was kind of like, didn't want to be bullied, because I was like, I'm not even like, I don't care right now if I land this. I'm on the edge of crying, you know, and I just need to, I'm at the park to unwind from all this aggression. So it's, you know. But those guys need the they needed it for different reasons, which is amazing that skateboarding can fill that for so many different people with different perspectives, you know? Like, it was helping me out, and it was helping them out. We might not clash, but they need it as much as I need it.
Well, yeah, and then what's from there is that when they see you out there and you're doing your thing and you're going for it, you know, you're not half-assing it, you're going for it, and you're expressing yourself, even if they're not really down with what type of skating you're doing or whatnot, it's respect, you know, because they're like, wow, that person's going for it. You see that person just land on their face like 3 times, and that person's getting back up, like, respect.
They want to see you, they want to see that you really love it like they do. There's like a proving yourself type
and it could
element,
be something as simple as like doing a shove it, and this person's been working on a shove it all day, and they finally get it. The whole park erupts, or everybody around them erupts. They're like, hell yeah, dude, that's like how it's supposed to be.
It's inspiring when you see someone actually, like, when they decide to dig into something, you're like, whoa, this is getting the fire going.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's also the responsibility of the older guys, just like what you're doing with your crew. And I don't see enough of that, is that I go to places, and sometimes the kids don't know how to act. They don't know how to act. They don't know they don't have any skateboarding etiquette whatsoever. And I remember, case in point, I was down in, the Outer Banks. And this was years ago. I went down with Mike Thomas and this guy, Greg Patchell, old ginger bastard, on Instagram.
Sick name.
And he's amazing. And so we went down there, and we were skating at Red Devil. It was at Kill Devil Hills as we skated. It was a new park at the time, but it's been established there for a while. And like, they were all flyout kids. Every kid who skated there was a flyout kid, and there was no older guys like kind of directing them, you know. So every time we're trying to drop in, like all of them would drop in and deck check us, and we're like, all right. And then was it Greg? He's a fiery redhead, and he was like, he goes, screw this, I'm going to show these boys what's up, and they're going to learn about inertia if they don't get out of my way. So he like ollies into the one bowl and starts carving around, and was whipping around to the point where the kids are like, they stopped and they were just like, what? They'd never seen anybody do that.
Yeah.
And then there's this big extension. He does like he did a backside rock on it, comes back around and there's a blunt to fakie on it. And it was like 3-4 foot of vert. It's concrete. Yeah. And it was like narrow. It was maybe 4 foot wide. And the kids were like, what? And then like Mike Thomas then saw it and he dropped in and he did like this big like indie nose bone like over a hip. And then he did like this blasted kick flip and whatnot. And then I was able to do some of my freestyle stuff. And then I can skate ramp and stuff too. So I did like a nollie big spin and, and I did a few other tricks. And all of a sudden the kids were like, dude, like, where are you guys from?
You guys like opened a world to them.
Yeah, it changed the whole dynamic of what was going on there, because I think maybe the guys that were going there before either were mean to them or like were bullying them or whatever, who knows. And they just felt like if they just kept going, they'll be able to skate, but if not. But then it opened up a rapport with us, you know what I mean? And then we taught them, hey, take your turn and whatnot. Don't deck check, meaning that you don't just put your board there while somebody's carving around because you can knock them over. That's not, oh, that makes sense. You know what I mean? And, and just dropping that knowledge. And that's so key. And that's what, skateboarding has been, we've all come to skateboarding through one way or another. And skateboarding doesn't owe us anything, but we owe everything to skateboarding. That's the way I look at it.
I agree with you.
Anytime I go to a place, even if I just want to skate, and there's kids there and they see me skating and they want to learn, like I stop what I'm doing and I go and I teach them, because I've already, I've been pro since 2004. Yeah. It's 2024. I've been pro for, forever. Yeah. And it's not about me at this point. It's about getting them stoked so that we can continue doing what we love to do in one way or another. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So, I mean,
if that work's not done, then it just definitely, the skateboarding can die out, because the passion has to be passed on. It doesn't always, like, I got excited about skating because I thought it was amazing when I saw it, but it was someone who shared it with me,
exactly.
And that was what made it so cool.
And that creates a bond right there. And I think now more than ever it needs to happen, because as you know, the industry is like right now, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
It's weird. Like, right after the pandemic, like right during the pandemic, I probably sold more boards than I ever sold before. Like I couldn't keep them in stock. And then everybody got their orders like 6 months later, and then we're all sitting on stuff because everybody, as soon as they said the pandemic was over, everybody got it back into their other sports and other activities. Skateboarding was very easy to do at that point because you could grab it, you could skate by yourself or with a couple of your friends, and they would buy like mini ramps and stuff or quarter pipes. Like you go on Marketplace, there's quarter pipes, like all those pre-made quarter pipes, whether it's from Ramp Tech or from the other groups. They're all being sold on Marketplace right now because they're getting into other sports and stuff now. So you're going to have a natural dip. We had a super, super high, and now it's dipping down, and now it's going to start to mellow out again. So how do we get more people into skating is by doing things like that. Those offers of service of we're here to serve the sport. Whether you call it a sport or a lifestyle or art or whatnot, to me, skateboarding's everything.
Serve the muse, man.
Yeah, exactly. To me, it's everything. So it's just like however angle you come at it, being able to pass it down and get people stoked, that right there is going to help us be able to create new products, be able to have new parks to skate, have new opportunities for these kids to come up that we never had. I mean, I'd look at some of the money that's in some of these contests now, and it's just like, I think the highest level contest ever was like a $5,000. No, it was a $10,000 pro purse, 10,000, and then it went up to 17. That's right, the Canadian contest, but it was 17,000. You see some of the street contests, they're 100,000, 150,000.
Yeah,
it's insane, and it's like you think like, all right, well the top guys in the freestyle contest, they might get $4,000, $5,000 at most, you know what I mean? And that's good, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, as it grows and, more people get involved in it, other groups get involved in it, and you can grow it, you know what I mean? But skateboarding does not grow, it does not proliferate without the people who got something from it give back. If they don't give back, it dies. It's as simple as that.
It's true, man.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy with All I Need. I look at it too, like a lot. Like I feel exactly how you feel. Like I started the brand because I wanted to be involved with skating, much like you started your companies, and to stay relevant. You know, because we're in the land of milk and honey, and there's a finite time on what you can do, and everything gets old. And but then I quickly realized, which I kind of realized anyways, because a lot of skateboarding to me has been community. Like the family I came from I love my family, but we were a shattered family trying to figure it out. And I found skateboarding, and it was a positive community of people. So that was like one of the big driving forces for me, was like, I love that I can go to a skate park and just make friends instantly.
Yeah.
You know, you literally have a language. Skateboarding's a language, and you can both relate to each other. I just had my friend Tato here on the podcast. And
Tato Feliciano?
Yeah, Tato just left.
Tato.
He was telling me about how he moved from Puerto Rico and he couldn't speak any English. But he had skateboarding and other people had skateboarding, and they just became friends, you know? So yeah, a lot of the work with All I Need now is like, I realized that like, if we don't build the brand and film the videos and teach them how to do this, then they're just going to be on their phone at a skate park. And there's a lot of kids out there that want to be that sponsored skater that has a crew, that gets to do the video part, gets to build their identity through filming and skating and learning and being in the trenches, and then throwing that premiere, and then, you know, earning that pro model board, and then getting a job within the industry somehow, you know? So like, that's like the grassroots side of things that I am focused on, is like contests. I tell my riders, like, you know, you can go the contest route if you want, but you got to really give a shit about it. Because if you're just in there to like make $1, you're going to lose to someone who actually enjoys it and is talented. Because like, you got to really enjoy competing and having an audience.
You have to have that eye. If you don't, like, you got to be a straight up killer. Like literally, like, people don't understand that. Like, when you're in competition, I mean, and there's competitions and everything. Some people just do it for the sport and whatnot, and then after their competition days are gone, they're done, because that was their focus, is they wanted to be really good at contests. And there's other ones who just wanted to focus on video parts, and it's competitive within regards to just in a different way.
Video parts more like topping yourself.
Exactly.
Each video part,
exactly.
But it's for the culture. You build out a video.
But skating and contest is the same way, if you look at it from that perspective, as well as it's a learning thing, and same thing with all that. But to be the top, as you know, there's a lot of great skaters out there. There's guys who are definitely more talented than I am, and I can name them right off the bat. But the difference between what I found from skating for so long is the difference between me and them is that, one, I had a focus, and I went for it. I was like, I'm gonna go and go for broke. Like, I don't care. Like, it's like, this is what I'm obsessed with, and I want to do it the best I can. And
some people never take that step.
So I'm going to find the best opportunity I can. Yeah, they don't find that step because they don't want to put themselves out there for ridicule.
Yeah.
And every single one of us, whether it's you or me, or even guys like Rodney Mullen or even Tony Hawk.
Yeah. Actually, the higher you get, the more ridicule you can get. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's funny because, you know, what it becomes they become more hypercritical of you. I noticed it when I started doing really well in contests and stuff. So like, in freestyle skateboarding, like, I'm one of the elder statesmen, right? But like, I've been skating in top level contests forever, and like, you know, I won world championships, I've done Euro championships, I've won US championships as an amateur, as a pro, and now a masters pro, and the magnifying glass gets tighter and tighter and tighter on you the higher you go. And there's a certain level of expectation, you know what I mean? Like, you know, people get hurt, people have life things that happen and stuff like that, and they kind of get off the things. But if you're not like 100%, and I hear guys even like Rodney Mullen saying it, he's like, he was so scared at contests, like he would never watch anybody skate. He was just out there to do his thing, and he did just enough that he knew that he could do really well in. But he never progressed from there. That's why he hated doing contests. Yeah, is because you're trying to hold on to that. And I've realized that too, even in my own journey, is that, you know, you're always against yourself. You know, you're always competing against yourself. That's always the best thing. But at the same time, when there's certain expectations, you know, that like other people are expecting you to be, and that it puts a lot of other pressure on you that, and some people break on that and fold, and other people rise to the occasion. It's, but you really have to be, you really have to do a lot of self-work to do that, as well as you got to just be a straight up killer. Like, you know, win, lose, or draw, I'm going out there and doing my best. And, you know, you got to care without caring, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like literally. And then it opens you up to a whole world of possibilities, because then you're not scared of just trying to maintain. You're like, all right, well, what can I learn from this? All right, cool. And what did I add to the session with this one? Or what did I add to the contest? What did I add to the video part? What did I add? If you start looking at it that way, the pressure starts to relieve, you know what I mean? And that, but it's like everybody gets to, I think people build up their stuff in their heads more than what actually is. They think it's worse than it actually is.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they think, oh, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. And if it's not this way, there's something wrong and I need to stop. And it's like, no, just like as you were doing, you transitioned into, I mean, you're still skating and you're doing stuff like on a team manager type level with your guys and teaching them and stuff. And you still skate at a high level. It may not be where you want to be, but you're giving back to it and you're being around it.
Yeah.
And you're adding something to it each and every day, whether it's through your own skating for your own self, or from when you're passing down that knowledge to like Anders and all those guys. By the way, Anders is rad. Like, I love that kid.
That's good.
He's come out and did some demos with me before. And his mom showed up the one time and dropped him off, and his grandmother came and picked him up.
Sick.
And I made sure we got victory tacos, because he definitely earned those victory
He told
tacos.
me.
He did. Yeah, good.
Every time he hung out with you, he was really stoked.
Oh, good.
He's really like, he really appreciates you for sure.
Well, no, what it is that like I saw something in him that I saw in myself when I was his age. You know what I mean? It was like he just had an unbridled enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Not only for life, but just for skating in general. Like, this is something that really we connected with in regards to skating, just like how we all connect within skating. Again, we all come from different backgrounds and different walks of life, different economic situations, but it's what you do on a skateboard that's the most important. And I saw what he did, and he's like, I've never done a demo before. And I'm like, well, you're going to do one. And I was like, this is how we're going to do it. And I'm like, I'm going to walk you through it. So I walked him through the first one. By the second demo, he's there playing up the crowd. He's there getting the kids to clap. He's hamming it up. And I'm like, oh, well, this kid's off to the races.
Kid learns fast.
You know what I mean? But like,
sorry to cut you off, but last session we were out in the streets. He was literally showing someone a video of ollieing five boards.
Yes.
At one of your things, in the stadium roar of kids.
Yeah.
He was so happy, biggest smile.
Oh yeah. And I noticed that it's just like
that was like 2 days ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear, because it's like, you know what it is like I can find out if like there's people who want to skate for my group as well, right? And I'm like, all right, well, the first things first is that you got to be willing to do demos. You got to be willing to skate in contests. You got to be willing to put out footage, and also to teach. I also have them teach kids too, because I find that teaching helps you understand skateboarding even more.
Totally.
Because you break it down into smaller pieces, and it allows you to be the outsider looking in, and then you're like, oh wait, I'm teaching this. Oh, this is what I'm doing wrong. You know what I mean?
And
it really
helps huge with communication skills, because you really got to verbalize all that in a way that someone can understand as a beginner.
Absolutely. Because I've had really talented guys on my teams before, and they were amazing on a skateboard, but they couldn't make heads or tails off of a skateboard, to be honest with you. Their social skills were lacking. Their attention to detail was lacking. Like, there was a bunch of stuff, you know, and some of them were like some of the best guys I've ever seen talented wise. They were amazing, but they needed a handler basically to do it all for them.
So many people like that.
So many, because they either don't take the time to do it, or some of them may just not have it inside of them. As I think it was Mullen said it in an interview before. He was saying there's an engine that you have to have within yourself. You have to have the engine, what's inside of you, of what's pushing you forward and why you're doing it and what you want to do at it. What are your goals? And if you can do that, and if you just want to skate, by all means. But if you want to do something with it, you really got to have a plan. You got to have that engine behind you to push you. And then from there, you got to get into a place where people can see you, so you can get the industry engine behind you, so you can get exposure and do all this stuff. And if that doesn't happen, You got to figure out a different way. And like, for instance, for me, like, yeah, I've gotten into some of the magazines, but I've never been like in the magazines consistently. Like once in a while, I got a cover of like Concrete Wave once. But I was in a lot of the smaller magazines, you know, like for contests or whatnot. They'd show me doing like a handstand or a tuck knee or something like this. So I found my way through what I was good at. My proclivities were for demonstrations and being able to talk to people who may not be involved in skateboarding at all, but I wanted to show how great skateboarding was. And I showed it in various ways, through whether it was through health and wellness or through physics and mathematics or something like that, just to get it out to the people, or just be like, hey, this is why we do this. You know, this is fun. This has kept me off the streets. It kept me focused on something that was positive, and it allowed me to build a structure that I could be a functional and productive human being. Because all the stuff that we learn from skateboarding, if you take everything that we learn from skateboarding, you could be whoever you want to be. You can be as successful as you want to be, because it teaches you all these lessons that you need to have to be successful.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Skateboarding, I love skateboarding.
Me too.
It's literally the practice of falling down and picking yourself back up and adjusting and just micro adjusting and perseverance. And it's all those things that make you successful in life.
Absolutely.
If you have a fire inside and you can just keep going at it, you can figure out a way to land that trick, you know?
Absolutely.
No matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And skateboarding's complex enough or encompassing enough that everyone can find something in there, you know?
Absolutely.
It's free enough too, because
Mm-hmm.
it's embodies everything, you know? It's like contests, street skating, skate by yourself, skate with people. It's not so controlled. And I kind of like that skaters fought against, you know, the sellout of skateboarding. There's like a counterculture. I like that exists as well, because it allows room for someone like me to get into it, who is like an angry kid who just needed to be out there to make a friend, you know, and wasn't really trying to compete or do anything until I figured out what I wanted to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, it's amazing. So what's up for, maybe fill people in on what you're doing over the next few days, and how do people check out what you're doing, and website, or get involved with what you're doing?
I gotcha. Well, I mean, what I'm going to do for the next few days is I'm out on the road. So I've been up in Massachusetts, heading to Worcester tomorrow, then going to New Hampshire, and then doing New Hampshire and going back down to Baltimore, doing shows. I'll be in Philly on like Friday night, and then driving down to Baltimore. And I'm probably going to go see Jason over at Charm City and stuff like that. So
tell him I said hi.
We'll do.
Jason's the man, dude.
Yeah, he is, and he's got these boards for me. He does double kicks, like they're the twin tails.
Yep.
So they're the same. So he has a few of them for me to try. So I'm looking forward to it. So I'm gonna try some of those new shapes. So that's what I got going in the immediate future. As of right now, we're developing, as I said before, Rad World, New Jersey, www.radworldnj.com. I just have like a place setting right there for right now, but we're going to be launching a site pretty soon before we open. Even if it's just something that just has the basics on it, we'll just do something like that. So that's the big thing I'm working on right now. Is
Rad World going to be like open to the public or private, where you're just throwing events and stuff?
No, it's going to be open to the public. It's going to be the first kind of indoor facility in that region in about a little over a decade.
Wow.
Yeah, we used to have Vans Skate Park, which was in the Morristown Mall, and we used to have the X Games Park, which was up in Philadelphia Mills, which used to be called Franklin Mills, and all of those closed like well over a decade ago. It was called Black Diamond, and they all closed due to the infrastructure of the malls. The malls did not want to have skateboarding in any of the malls anymore, so they closed all the skate parks and they kicked them all out. So there was no like indoor facility. So in the meantime, there was a lot of outdoor facilities that were built, but there was no good indoor facilities. So there was a lot of training facilities in and around the area, but not a place that was big enough to facilitate like an actual park.
Yeah,
and that's
which is crucial.
It's totally crucial.
Winter.
Winter, as well as also like, you know, with after school programs and things like this. Like, you know, it's a different world. From doing the Skateboard Academy of Philadelphia, we've done a lot of stuff in the inner city, and we saw the need for after school programs, enrichment programs, outreach programs, things of this nature. and we've worked with Parks and Rec, and we've worked with other nonprofit groups to facilitate this and get kids who may not have the ability or the means to get on a skateboard an ability and an opportunity to be a skateboarder. We even worked with the one library up by Cecil B. Moore. You know that section of Cecil B. Moore where everybody skates in Philly, like the down thing. Down the street from there is there's a library, and they actually reached out to us, and we reached out to MLK Rec Center, and we were like, hey, we'd like to do a program there. They got a grant, and what we did is they got 12 skateboards and 12 helmets, and they got kids from the neighborhood. So I had one of my workers went up there, one of my instructors, Demir, went up there, and he taught the kids, and he's actually from that around that area. He's from Strawberry Mansion, which is not too far from where that is, and he outreached to the kids and got these kids on skateboards who never would have been exposed to skateboarding otherwise. And he got them skating. So the kids that were participating every week, they got a board and a helmet.
Rad.
Free of charge. It was all by grant money that the library got, and everything else that was left, they're doing a lending library for skateboarding. So they have skateboards at the library, so you can go over to the library, and they have some skateboarding books there, and you can check out a skateboard and a helmet, and you can learn how to skateboard.
Cool.
And it's free of charge. So it's like we've done a lot of things like that, and we're like, all right, how can we do this and put it in a center? So that's what kind of Rad World's culmination is. Because in Philly, unfortunately, the real estate is rising up, and the people are buying up all the stuff, and a lot of these places are going to turn into condos sooner than later, these artist lofts that we are in. And it's becoming to the point where I'm going to have to either buy a space over there, which is going to be expensive, or I'm gonna have to raise my prices, and I didn't want to necessarily do that. So I want skateboarding to be as accessible as possible, but also so that we can keep the lights on, and and be able to pay our people and do something good for the community. And I think from there, we can actually do something, because this will be the first skate park in that area, I think, ever that was owned and operated by people who are in the culture.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's business people who come in, which is fine. We need that as well. But I mean, Ronnie Gordon was a top level, like competitive skateboarder and stuff. Myself, and then Adam, who is a BMX guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's like a really good, gnarly, like, BMX pro. And he has a whole crew too. And it's all about developing community and working together. And with all of us working together and coming together, as well as, we were able to find a space that was, Ronnie's friend owned, that we were able to negotiate something that's affordable, so that not only can we do all the goals that we need to, but we don't have to raise the prices.
That's amazing.
And allow the kids to come and skate, you know what I mean? And I think, I don't want, it's just like with skiing. A lot of people don't ski and snowboard because it's price prohibitive, you know what I mean? But at the same time, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? We got to pay the rent. We got to pay the gas. We got to pay the electric. We got to pay our people. So as long as we can do that and, make a little extra so we can keep building some more stuff. I mean, I was talking to Ronnie about it the other day. It's just so that we can be around it all the time. Like, we're not at the level that we used to be or where we want to be right now. But for us, just being around it, it makes us feel whole again. And it makes us feel like we're still... We are still not necessarily validated by it, but it's that we're still able to contribute in some way and be able to help proliferate something that we've spent so much time and energy in, and stuff that we love unconditionally, to the point where we need to pass that on so that other people can take what we did. We were kind of like all the stuff that we laid out today, and what I was talking about earlier within regards to, we laid the foundation. And we've been building it as we're going. Now they're coming in with it already being built to a certain amount, and they can take it to new heights. Like, and then, like, I see it within regards to skating. Like, you see it probably with your skaters that, like, wow, this kid just picked up something that took me a month or 2 months or a year to learn, and they picked it up in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Or, wow, they're looking at, that rail, and I didn't start doing things like that until I was, my 20s or whatever like that. Or, I look at freestyle tricks, like this one kid, he rides for Flip. His name is Yuzuki.
Freestyle skater.
Freestyle skateboarder.
That's
He
sick.
rides
That's
for
sick.
Flip. He's a pro level skater on the freestyle circuit, but they have him as an AM right now. But at least he's in like Flip's a legit, big thing, like the best of the best go there. And he's there, and I'm watching what he's done. He's taken everything that we do, combine it in a different way, and make it look easier than we ever have. Like the combinations he comes up with are just like, how, you know? Like he did this one, like the toe flip, right? The old toe flip.
Yep.
So we called it soul flip. Soul flip, catches it, goes right into backwards walking spacewalks, right? Like Mullen used to do.
Yeah.
And then what he did is he did a shove it in it and ended up going switch, and then switched it and then did like a big spin or big flip out or something like that. And it's just one continuous line. Normally those are separate chicks.
Yeah.
And he combined all of them together and made it look seamless and effortless. And I'm just like, wow, like it's just so cool. And he's so young still, and he's like on such a level. It's like the world is his oyster. Same thing with Isamu Yamamoto. He's been on the Got Talent circuit. He was in Italy recently, and like, ollieing up on one board, going up to the side of the board, pressing into a handstand, barrel flipping out of it when he's stacked on two boards.
Crazy.
And then he's like skating two boards like better than a lot of people can skate one board. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you just see it. And then from there, I don't know about you, but for me, when I see these young guys doing it, it gets me more stoked to go skate, because once you're at a certain level, your peer group gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's harder to, for me anyway, it's harder to like keep pushing myself. I always like to have a nemesis, if you will, like somebody that I compete against. And I have one over in Portugal. Me and him were always sending stuff back and forth. We're like, what you got, old man? Oh yeah, what you got, old man? and that's that fire that keeps you in. It's fun, it's competitive, but it also pushes us, and it makes us so that we're not so complacent. But once you get to a certain level, as you know, your friend groups change. And the guys that you are skating at with that level, they're only people that you go on tours with, or you see them at contests. But on your day-to-day, you don't see.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have somebody that can push you that's on that level. And when I'm seeing these young guys coming up, or the people that I'm teaching, and they're coming up with different ways of doing stuff that I've been doing the same for 20 years, I'm thinking, wow, that's really inspiring, and that's getting me psyched, and I want to go out and skate more.
Yeah.
So now it's like they watched us skating, and that got them stoked to skate. Now it's us getting stoked on them to go out and skate more.
Totally.
So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
It's very vicious.
And I agree with that, man. That's one of the main reasons why I do what I do, is because you watch the young kids get to experience what you did, and then it rekindles. Dude, AJ, you're the fucking man.
Oh, you're the man. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Seriously, the world could use like 15, 20,000 more versions of you. Especially the skateboarding could use way more people like you, because you've done endless amount of work. You're a class act and a true legend. So
well, I appreciate those words of kindness, but I mean, we're all doing our own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad that you're stoked on me. I'm stoked on what you're doing. And, I'm stoked on what everybody's doing. As we talked about, a whole bunch of different types of cats that are out there skateboarding, and everybody is adding something to the equation. And as long as we're doing it, and we're doing it honestly and openly, skateboarding will never die. It'll just keep going and perpetuating. And, my goal is to try to have as much fun and get away with this as long as I possibly can. And I'm sure you're the same way. So it's all good. Well, always a pleasure. I know you've got some other duties you got to take care of.
We're going to like a pumpkin festival, Wilder's first time, seeing some cool shit. So
nice.
We're about to go experience some fun. So
nice. The family time is always time well spent and stuff. And it's great that you're able to experience it in a totally different way now. You're going to be able to see it through the young one's eyes. I don't have any kids of my own, but I helped raise kids through the Skateboard Academy, as well as I have nephews and I have nieces and godkids. And I'll tell you what, all your aches and pains go away. And especially when you're like playing and like you're crawling around on the ground, or when they're discovering something for the first time, especially something that like you like. Yeah. Like my godson, I'm getting him into skateboarding, and his parents don't want him to be pushed into it, but I'm like very highly encouraging it.
Carrot and stick.
Hey, I got a board and it's your size. Look at that. You know what I mean? And same with my sister. I'm trying to get my nephew into it too. He's 4 and she's like, well, he's still a little young. And I see him I got him one of those bicycles that has no pedals on it. And he's running around on it. He's standing on the frame and my sister's just looking at me and I'm like, don't look at me. If he wants to learn how to skate, I'll be more than happy to. So it's just like, you got to plant the seed and you just kind of encourage him. But it's cool to see a new world of wonder and the innocence of them, as well as it's also really cool to see them develop into their own people. And you look at them and you think about all the stuff that you've been through. I know I do. And I'm like, I'm going to teach them everything that I can so they don't have to go through the hell that I went through to get through that. And it's like,
you're the foundation. You built all the work to get to where you are, made all the mistakes, try to correct them, and then not pass them on.
Exactly. And not pass any of that trauma down either. So as I said before, it's just like skateboarding. We built the foundation. Let's see where they take it. And wherever they take it, it's going to be great. So
dude,
I'm really super stoked for you. Enjoy the pumpkin patch and enjoy your family. So I'll let you get going for sure.
Hell yeah, AJ. We'll do this again. We'll give it a little bit of time, and then when you're back in my hood, we'll do it again.
Sounds good. I'd be more than happy to do it.
All right. One last thing before we go. Is there any other things you want to plug? I know radworldnj.com, right?
Yeah, Radworld.
What about the science and engineering and...
Oh yeah, so the shows that I do, if anybody's watching who wants to book it for like their kids' schools or whatever like that, it's mobileedproductions.com. So Mobile Ed Productions, we do like 35 or 36 different types of shows. We do the skateboarding show, as well as we are building up a BMX and skateboarding show that we're going to be calling 2x4. 2 wheels, 4 wheels, and we may even make a 2x4 skateboard, I'm thinking. And just have some fun with that to show what's possible. But Mobile Ed Productions, radworldnj.com, and the Skateboard Academy of Philadelphia. Those are the things that I do. And then, of course, I have a small little brand that we call One Skateboards. We've been doing that since 2006. It's still going, and we have fun doing it. But, I mean, more or less just... go and see some of the people that we were talking about on YouTube and stuff like that and see what we were talking about within our conversation. And if there's anybody that I can recommend that everybody should watch, especially skaters who are getting older, is watch anything with Russ Howell in it. Russ Howell just turned 75 this year. Legend. He was the world's first pro skateboarder. And he is a grandfather, and he's still skating. He has hip replaced, but he can still spin like 60 times in a row, handstands, all that stuff. And if you guys ever have a chance and you want to really learn about the history of where all of this has come from, everything from board geometries to the first people who actually toured and actually spread the stoke, start with Russ Howell. Dude. And you guys will be psyched. But yeah, Russ Howell, definitely take a look at him. So had to plug that, as well as also I wanted to talk to you at one time. I want to get one of those All I Need hoodies.
Yes.
Because those things are fire. The ones with the Kraken on the back of it.
Yeah, nice.
What is that? What's the saying on that one?
Come hell or high water.
Come hell or high water, man. And that's
just dropped that one.
Dude, that is fire. So if anything, anybody's listening to this, get one of those too, because those things are fire, as well as this is exactly what we're talking about. That fire that burns in our skateboarding, come hell or high water. That's what you should do and approach your skateboarding every single day. Come hell or high water, you're going to achieve that goal.
Hell yeah.
All
Amen,
right.
brother.
All right.
Thanks again.
No worries.